Science Bar, and here we are today with a very special tropical edition of it, because today we are making a Singapore Sling. Originally called a gin sling and started in Singapore. It has a lot more ingredients than my usual cocktails, so I hope I remember all of them. Also, do note that apparently no two gin slings have ever been made the same way, so however you make it, that's the right way to make it. And that's not even exaggerating for like other drinks where there may actually be an agreed upon recipe. There's not for this one. The one that I'm going based off is from the International Bartending Association that they use for competition, because I figured that would probably be a fairly good one to go off of, but whatever you find is gonna be fine, and whatever you happen to have around, also fine. So let's go ahead and get started and clear some of these things off as we go. We are gonna be doing 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of it's supposed to be a cherry brandy, but I have an apple brandy, and I'm going to use some cherry juice. And then half an ounce of Benedictine, half an ounce of Cointreau, Angostura bitters, and then some cherry juice in there to add some additional sweetness, because you can also put in some grenadine as well. That's a lot. Let's get started. So 2 ounce, oh, very important, and 1 ounce of lime juice. There's a lot of things to remember. Starting off with 2 ounces of our gin. Now I am again using Cherry Brandy because it is a bit of a citrusy gin, which is going to complement all the other things nicely. It is hot outside, it's gorgeous outside, and a nice fruity cocktail that has some sugar coming from the pineapple juice. Oh yeah, 8 ounces of pineapple juice too. All the things. Something sweet's going to kind of go nicely, and a nice citrusy gin will also be wonderful for that. So we got 2 ounces of our gin. I'm going to do 1 ounce of a pear brandy. Now this is from a place called Apple Trio, which is right on the Wisconsin-Illinois border. Really, really good perries, which is different from a pear cider. Pear cider is apple cider with pear flavoring. Perry is all fully pear. So this is a pear brandy from them. So I figured a little bit of pear in alongside our cherry juice would not hurt at all. A little bit more fruitiness, never hurt anybody. So in addition to that, just to give it some cherry flavoring as well, we're going to add in some juice from our maraschino cherries. Now this is not just maraschino liqueur because it has more sugar in it, and it has had cherries in it for a while, so it's going to have more cherry flavoring than your just standard out of the bottle maraschino liqueur. So that'll add some nice cherry fruity notes to our Singapore Sling. Alright, moving on to the other ones, we've got half an ounce of Cointreau and half an ounce of Benedictine. Now this is, again, going to add more fruitiness, more complexity. Benedictine in particular is going to add the botanicals and herbs that go into that. And all these are also fairly sweet, so everything you see here it's fairly sweet. So it's all going to have that really nice tropical flavoring to it, so if it's hot outside, a nice tall cocktail in an iced glass, it's going to be spot on. It's going to hit the spot for you. Adding in 1/2 ounce of our Benedictine after the Cointreau that we just did. And yeah, as I said, feel free to not use any of these ingredients if you don't have them, or just want to do something different. Totally up to you. If you did happen to have a grenadine, you could also add some grenadine in here as well. I don't, and I'm not a fan of it in general anyway, because it's usually fairly artificially sweetened. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip that. We are doing about 1 ounce of lime, which I found is almost exactly half a lime. So I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze half a lime directly in there and not bother measuring it, because it's much easier when you're not going through that very small container of the measuring thing. So got that. We're going to go ahead and add a couple dashes of our Angostura bitters, and then 8 ounces of our pineapple juice. Now all the store had around here was pineapple and coconut. I'm not mad at that. I love coconut, so I think that's just going to add some additional flavors to here, make it even more tropical yet. Okay, there's a lot of coconut in there. It'll be good regardless. Now we are going to do 8 ounces, so I guess I will measure just for the sake of not putting in a ludicrous amount and making things more or less balanced. But you can feel more than free to just free pour this to taste or to sight, but for the sake of consistency, we'll see how it is. And that way you can always add more or less. And this is also a cup. Measuring this in my shot glass measuring thing is not the most efficient way of doing so. But you know, you work with what's available. I could get another thing dirty, or I could not. I choose not. Alright, so we got all of our goodness in our glass. We're going to go ahead and give that a quick little shake. See where we're at. Alright. Got a very appropriately shaped cold frosty beverage glass here. And we're gonna go ahead and strain out our ice that's been shaken, and we got our fresh ice in the glass to keep ourselves nicely chilled. Oh, look at that, it's even the right volume. Well, doesn't that just look nice? Ooh, smells nice too. Oh, that's great. It's complex. That Benedictine is fantastic. It adds a lot more complexity to it. All the sweetness kind of melds nicely. Shaking it, you get some foam that's mixed up in with that, with the pineapple. That is the perfect tropical drink. All right, it's gonna be summer. Get the stuff to start making your tropical drinks ready to go, because we're gonna be doing more of those because it's time. Enjoy making Singapore Sling, enjoy practicing our cocktails, and until we drink again, cheers.